Okay, so in this video, I'm going to teach you how to blow a duck call. So the first thing is you need to be familiar with your different kinds of duck calls. You have two main different kinds of duck calls. You have a single reed, which is it's a tone board, and it's got a reed right here, and then it has a wedge. And sometimes this is made of rubber, sometimes it's made of cork. Sometimes when it's made of cork, the cork can get wet and dry out, and it sounds different, so you need to replace the cork. So that's what just about every single reed I've ever seen is like. And then you have a double reed, which some double reeds have you have the insert and you have the barrel, and then you have the guts, which is what's on the inside. And in the guts you have a reed that holds it on top. Then you have two reeds, and then you have your tone board. And you set the reeds in, and you set the wedge on top, and then you put it back in to the insert, so that way you can put it back into the barrel. So there's that. The one I'm going to be using is actually a double reed, but it's built on it's actually on a tone board and a stopper right here, and then it has two reeds. So it's a little different. Not all double reeds are like this one. There's a lot of them that are like this too, especially your more high-end, top-dollar ones like this. So really the first thing you need to know about is how to present air into the call. And so the thing about a duck call is you can't blow in it because it won't sound right. And so people say, you know, how do I put air into a call? Well, when I first started to learn, I heard people say all the time, you know, use air from your diaphragm, and then I was like, well, your diaphragm, you know, you can't take air out of your diaphragm. And what it really means is to push air up. If I was to take my glasses off and to fog them up, I wouldn't go and puff my cheeks out. I would go like that. And so it's kind of the same concept. Like with a quarterback, when he's calling the plays, you go hut hut. It's kind of what you want to do. You want to, but a duck doesn't sound like that. So what you have to do is you have to be able to close your notes off, and you have to be able to control the pressure. So I'll do it in the back of the call first. What you want to do just to have a quack is you want to go. That's the basic quack. And now once you can do that, you need to be able to use your hands. You want to kind of almost make it like a mouth. So whenever you put air into it, you need to open your hand so that way it lets air out. And then whenever you're done, you need to close your hand so it shuts the air off completely. So you want to, and so that's just the basic quack. So when you're actually calling, you have different types of calls. You have a high ball or a hail call. There's some difference between the two. I'll explain that later. But you have most of the time that's not really gonna work for you, because a duck, this is what it sounds like. It's like really, unless you want to win a duck calling competition, you're not really ever gonna have to use that. Really, the only thing you'll need to do is just to be able to do kind of it's different. What I just did was a high ball, and this is a hail call. It's kind of there's a difference there. Most of the time, you know, because a duck can't make the sound of a high ball. A duck can't go. Ducks can't do that. And most of the time, if you're using that, you'll be, you know, kind of in the field where ducks are really far ways off, and you're trying to get their attention to kind of bring them in closer. And so then, you know, you've got ducks kind of far away, and they're kind of coming to you, and you want to kind of that's kind of a greeting call to kind of bring them in and tell them, hey, you know, we're here. And then kind of whenever they're kind of over top, you just kind of want to do the regular quack. And then a common mistake that people make is that people think that whenever a duck is sitting on the water and it's feeding, it sounds like this. Ducks don't do that either. It's whenever a duck is doing a feeding call, it's more of a broken up. It's not really that just rolling that you hear a lot of people do. It's a common mistake. So that's just kind of a basic tutorial on how to use a duck call. You just got to be able to force air up from your lungs, just like that. And then whenever ducks are kind of a ways off and you're trying to get their attention, you just want to and then after you kind of get their attention and they're coming back towards you, you just kind of want to and another mistake that people will make when they're hunting is, especially if you're hunting in a field from a pit or a blind, is whenever the ducks are right on top of you, people will call, and then when a duck hears that, they'll look down and they'll see the people down there. And sometimes if they're not camouflaged well, or sometimes even if they're camouflaged really well, they still see them and they'll flare and fly away. So a lot of one thing that I try and do a lot is try and call them when they're kind of on the corners of your blind when they're flying, and they're either kind of flying that way or flying this way. You just kind of want to call them on the corners where they're like this. So once you kind of have their attention, you just kind of want to then the closer they get, whenever they're, you know, kind of looking like they're about to come down, you just want to give them a feed call. Just so that's just you know, basic way on how to use a duck call. So good luck hunting.